Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Radical Center. My name is Jonathan Langley. We're broadcasting as ever from the illustrious Radical Studios in beautiful sunny downtown Austin, Texas. And today, as usual, we're joined by my long-suffering producer, Dan. And what we thought we'd actually talk about is diabetes. Now, what we do on these shows, in case you haven't seen us before, we like to focus on topics that affect average Americans, everyday people, from the point of view of the center. In other words, we're not biased, particularly we don't think we are, from the point of view of politics. I am an independent, and we want to focus on, we're going to cover quite a few healthcare topics on this series, but one today on diabetes. We think this is a really good example of how dysfunctional the American healthcare system really is. And you might be saying, but that's not true. We have fantastic healthcare. Look at the outcomes. Well, that is actually incorrect. America pays twice as much per person for healthcare with worse results. And we actually think that the diabetic situation, the insulin situation, is probably a phenomenal way to illustrate this point. And if you're watching us and you're a diabetic, I'm hoping that you'll agree with most of what we have to say. And if you're not a diabetic, and you and I'm not, then we should count our lucky stars, because the lack of insulin, if you don't get insulin, it's like not having air. You die. It's basically that simple. And we're asking people to ration insulin. It's like you and I having to ration air. You take every other breath. Oh, there we go. No, you can't do it, right? So that's essentially what insulin is. So think about it this way. To put it in perspective, so insulin was discovered, it was pig insulin, very quickly, summary here, but over 100 years ago by two guys from Canada. They felt it was morally reprehensible to make any money at all on insulin. So they licensed the drug for $1, or the discovery, I should say, for $1 to Eli Lilly in the United States over 100 years ago. And Eli Lilly to this day is one of the three major drug companies that sells and manufactures insulin for the United States market. Two of those drug companies, two of the three, aren't even American. So we are rewarding foreign shareholders, foreign CEOs, foreign employees by paying a lot more for insulin, and we're going to get into the results right now. Okay, so first things first. So the United States, the average price per standard unit of insulin in the United States is $98. To put it in perspective, we're going to compare to the UK, where it's $7.52. Now, I should point out that this is not subsidized by the United Kingdom. This is the price that if you went into the wanted to buy the drug on the street, not literally on the street, hopefully, but you know what I'm saying, you'd be able to buy it for the equivalent of $7.52, which is obviously not even a tenth of what it costs in the United States. Now, to put all this in perspective, and this is Dan's going to put this graphic up, thanks. The United States accounts for 31.6% of all insulin consumption. 31.6% of insulin consumption. In other words, that's the amount of volume of the drug the United States uses. However, we account for 84% of the sales. 84% of the sales. What does that tell you? We are paying more than enough for everybody else over the top for these drugs. I know you're going to say, well, wait a minute, Langley. I know, but how many times have we been told that we're subsidizing the rest of the world with our breakthroughs? Not at all. Not at all. Two of these drug companies, remember, aren't even American. They're both based in Europe. One is French, it's called Sanofi. We're going to talk about them in just a second. So we're rewarding and subsidizing foreign shareholders because we're rewarding their efforts in drug research, but because we're overpaying in the first place. No wonder these drug companies love the United States. All right, so just moving on quickly. So to put it in perspective for you, thanks, Dan. The list price for a pack of 5-pack of 3 milliliter Humalog quick pens, and we've all heard about these quick pens, is $530. In the United Kingdom, and they, by the way, I should point out that's Humalog, and then Sanofi has something called Admel Log, some of these strange names. That's something called Solar Star pens. Even in the United States, with a good RX discount, we have that up right now. coupon. 5 Solar Star pens, 3 milliliters, cost $277. Let's just say $280. To put it in perspective, in the UK, the Solar Star pen costs £25. Not for one, but for all 5. So that's equivalent to $30 for the same drug if you just went and bought it in United Kingdom for £25. Essentially, as I say, $30. It's essentially 10 times for the United States. We pay 10 times more for the same drug from a French drug company than people in United Kingdom do. And if you think we're making this up, we're absolutely not. We were stunned at the price difference. No wonder people go across the border to try and get insulin from Canada. I don't have Canadian prices here, but I'm sure it's very similar to the United Kingdom. It's not that the United States is doing all the research and the United States is subsidizing these other countries by doing the research, so you and I, the consumer of these drugs, ends up paying more because of that. That is absolutely incorrect. Remember, the United States counts for 30% of the volume of insulin, but 83 or 84% of the actual dollars bought in. It's because we're overpaying. It's because we're stupid. Now, here's where it gets really... And you're going to be shocked at these numbers. Now, it stunned us when we started to look into this. So, Dan, put the next one up. Thank you. So, the green bar here, bars, is for people who either have family members or themselves have diabetes, and blue is for people who don't have diabetes or don't have any family member that have diabetes. Now, you can see essentially if you have diabetes, which is the green bar, forget anything, just paying for your own insulin and so on, all medical bills, surprise medical bills, co-pay for prescription drugs, even doctor's visits, you have a much harder time affording these types of things, even your health insurance premiums, which are at the very, very bottom. What does this tell you? If you've got diabetes, and if you're watching me, I'm sure you don't need me to tell you this, you're basically starting behind the 8 ball. You've got to... Not only you have to pay for something that you need like air. You need it. Without it, you die. And because of that, when it comes to just things in general to do with healthcare, because you have to pay so much just to live, as if you and I had to pay for air, you are behind the 8 ball even on paying for your health premiums. All right, let's put up the next one. Thanks, Dan. This is what I mean about outcomes. So this is mortality rate. Now, the UK is the second from bottom. It's that light blue. We've highlighted it there on the graphic. And the United States is the thick green line. And you don't need me to explain to you that essentially the outcome for dying of diabetes in the United States is three times that of the United Kingdom. And it's not because there isn't insulin. It's not because these drug companies are rationing it, meaning you can't get it in some states and this type of thing. It's because these people can't afford it. How many times have you read that people end up having to choose between eating, paying rent, or insulin? And people die because they skip their shots, right? So this is a prime example. Put it back up, Dan, thanks. So in other words, if you're in the UK... if you're in the United States versus the United Kingdom, and this is not number of people, guys. Remember, this is mortality rate. You have a 3 times better chance of dying of diabetes in the United States than you do in the United Kingdom. And it's very simple. It comes down to the cost. These people can't afford it. These people can't, they have to decide if they're going to pay rent or get their insulin. And it's a shameful situation for the wealthiest country on the planet to be in. And I will say this, which is not a political statement, but shame on all politicians, Democrats and Republicans, for letting this go on. If we had people who believed in taking care of people, if we had pro-life people who truly believed in pro-life, this would be something that they should be very worried about. The fact the United States has 3 times the mortality rate of the United Kingdom. Very similar countries, if you think about it, in the makeup of the populations and industries and these types of things. I know the United States is larger, but this is rates, not actual numbers, right? This is actually the rate per 100,000 people. Put it up one more time, Ben. It's stunning to me. I want people to understand that the people with diabetes in the United States are dying 3 times more at a higher rate than the United Kingdom. That's not right. That needs to be stopped. So if you have any bright ideas, you can write to us. Tell me I'm wrong. You can see the email there. Dan's going to put it up. Please like, comment, subscribe. Give us other ideas for topics you think we should cover. But again, these are all facts. It's shameful. We'll be talking about life expectancy, maternal mortality, all sorts of things. Infant mortality, which again is shameful in the United States. We'll be talking about all these things. But at the end of the day, I think Dan and I both thought that the diabetic one was a great example to get started on around healthcare in the United States, where it's fundamentally broken and shameful that people need a life-saving drug. And the Eli Lilly, which essentially got the drug for free, or the license to produce for free, to this day, keeps making literally billions of dollars off of their fellow Americans. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. God bless. We'll be back very, very soon.